This tale stars the 29-year-old programmer Suzuki Ichiru, who's forced to work on a weekend because of unreasonable deadlines and unreliable coworkers. He's on a death march to solve all the bugs within his games on time. After 3 days of relentless debugging, he's finally able to send the game to the client, giving him an opportunity to catch some sleep. But when he opens his eyes, Setu, looking as if he's a high schooler, finds himself in a barren wasteland with a user interface. One finds an MMORPG for his point of view. Utilizing the map option, Seikyu realizes that he's in the Valley of Dragons and several lizard men are heading for him. Finding himself cornered, Setu utilizes the only thing at his disposal, meteor shower spells. Thus, meteors rain down from the heavens, slaying the lizardmen, and as a result, Seikyu reaches level 310 with all his stats maxed out. After a failed experiment at gauzing his own strength and utilizing his omnipresent UI to boost his own skills, Seikyu heads for a stronghold where he spots some 100 soldiers. But due to his meddling, an angry wyvern targets the army. Feeling guilty, Setu follows the beast and manages to save a mage called Xena, who's knocked into the sky by the wyvern, acquiring the title Lifesaver. Xena thanks Setu for saving his life, but when questioned by Xena's hostile friends, Setu, utilizing his fabrication skill, poses himself as a merchant who lost his documents and luggage in the recent meteor incident. Deceived by Setu's skill, Xena and the rest take him to Seiryu City, a place populated with humans, slaves, demons, and elves. After bidding farewell to a grateful Xena, Setu gets himself documentation thanks to his counterfeit stats. While admiring the city, he's coaxed by a girl called Martha who takes him to an inn where he reserves a room for 10 days. As he's having a meal, Setu learns about the existence of a hero, a demon king, and the endeavor faced when a dragon attacks. Soon he heads out with Martha to buy some clothes, but then spots 2 demi-human slaves being bullied by a man. He saves the 2, and they head home with another older slave. Setu then buys multiple things and spots another strange slave named Arisa before finally heading back to the inn. That night, he decides to first enjoy exploring this world and then look for a way out. The next day, Xena invites Setu to show him around the city. While walking around the city with Xena, he discovers various new magic spells and even visits a military facility. Xena then takes Setu to a temple where he's fascinated by a mural of the first hero fighting the Demon King. He learns that when a hero touches a holy sword, it turns blue. After leaving the temple, the two explore various other locations in the city. It is then that they stumble across a priest who's talking to a crowd, forcing them into stoning the trio of demi-human slaves. Recognizing the trio, Setu immediately gets rid of the people responsible for riling up the mob and the master of the trio. But just as things appear to have settled, a one-eyed demon emerges from the body of the owner. The demon summons a labyrinth and traps everyone in it. But coincidentally, Setu and the trio end up together. First, he gives the demi-human girls new names, half-cat Tama, half-dog Pochi, and half-lizard Lisa, then some clothes and food. After observing the map of the labyrinth and handing a sword to Lisa, the group heads out. Soon, they come across the first monster, though Setu manages to take it out with his magic gun, and the trio harvests an orb from the corpse. Noticing that the trio isn't gaining experience quickly, Setu assigns the girls different tasks, assisting him in killing the monsters. As they move further in the labyrinth, the three continue to level up and even get strong enough to hunt on their own. While exploring, they save 3 humans trapped in spider cocoons who join them. Soon enough, they come across a large group of humans fighting a horde of slime. They join to help the struggling one, and Setu manages to find Xena. Soon, some soldiers find a treasure box, and upon opening it, the one-eyed demon emerges. Unable to reveal his true strength, Setu stumbles upon an idea and disguises himself with the mask and wig he bought recently. He easily manages to take the one-eyed demon out, but in desperation, the fiend summons his master, Demon Lord. It mistakes Setu for a hero and attacks him, but Setu is unscathed. He then utilizes the title, God Killer, one he's obtained after using Meteor Shower, and slays the Demon Lord with a divine blade. The labyrinth disappears, and everyone is back in the city. Tama, Pochi, and Liz become Seikyu's official slaves thanks to Nidoran, a man he saved in the labyrinth. Nidoran also offers other slaves to Setu, 2 in particular that stood out to him were Arisa and Lulu. Setu mumbles Japanese in their ears, and Arisa reacts to the language. In the end, he ends up buying those 2 as well. After introducing the 2 to the rest of the slaves, treating them to the finest food and buying them new clothes, the master slaves group head back to the inn. In the middle of the night, his eyes open and he finds a naked Arisa on top of him, who then kisses him. Feeling almost enticed by the girl, Setu quickly realizes that she used a spell. Hence, he gives her an order to not use spells. When questioned by Setu for her reasoning, she exclaims that she fell in love with him. The next morning, Xena is furious when she discovers a naked girl in Satu's room, but he manages to calm her down and the two decide to spend the day together. Later, they all go and see the play The Tragedy of Marquis Muno. But just then, the city is attacked by several large insects. The soldier and Satu's group manage to handle most of the insects. Satu finds an injured Red Helmet Knight and a sleeping elf princess Mia. The two are taken to Nadi's place where they are treated. The next day, he visits the shop again to see Mia, who's slowly recovering. Later, after having breakfast with his group, Satu takes Arisa, Tama, and Pochi to meet Mia. The girls get along, which puts a smile on his face. Leaving them alone, he then goes to buy a 2-horse cart from Nadi. The next day, after camping in the woods and teaching the girls much-needed things, Satu and Lulu head out to help him master their newly bought cart. And in no time, thanks to his skills, Satu is able to master the art of driving a cart. While driving around, he spots a strange owl, but they soon head back to the city. Uncanny, but Satu spots the same owl outside Nadi's shop. Later, he learns from the recovered knight that Mia was kidnapped by a wizard and was imprisoned in the cradle where she was saved by the knight. After hearing a scream, Satu heads down to the girls to find the owl inside Nadi's shop, and a figure in a cloak emerges from it. The figure casts a spell, but Satu fends it off, and then to prevent the man from kidnapping Mia, he tries to punch him, but passes right through as the man uses shadow magic. Arisa then casts a strong spell revealing the figure's skeletal appearance. It withstands the attack and kidnaps Mia successfully. Satu follows it and finds himself trapped in a shadow prison, but his player skills allow him to break it and he arrives directly to where Mia is. But the undead king sends him to the bottom floor to climb the 200 floors of the cradle. Cruising through the first few floors, he quickly finds a dryad and after exchanging mana with her, by a kiss, she opens a secret corridor for him, a room of an old elf, and transfers him to the 100th floor. On that floor, he finds 3 female homunculus and an iron golem. He quickly gets rid of the golem and knocks out the girl remaining as the two escape. He places her in a room and quickly makes his way to the 200th floor. The undead king announces that if he manages to defeat his minions, Satu will receive the Holy Sword, Jallarhorn, and save Mia. Satu faces off against 7 homunculus and 3 iron golem. Despite the buff-ups, he easily destroys the golems and holds his own against the homunculus despite the numerical disadvantage. He knocks the homunculus out to request him to fulfill his master's wish. The undead king gives him the holy sword and reveals that he's Zen, the man who was unjustly killed by Muno. But he got the blessing of reincarnation, which turned out to be more of a curse when he couldn't rejoin his wife in the afterlife. Satu uses the sword and finishes off Zen as he had wished, freeing him of the curse. The cradle starts this self-destruct sequence, but Satu realizes that Mia will be teleported before that happens. He asks Mia to take the 7 homunculus with her, while he saves the last one below. After Mia is teleported, he descends the cradle, crumbling in salt. He quickly saves her, and the dryad takes the 2 outside, but a tidal wave of salt chases after him. Satu casts high-level fire spells and uses the steam to survive the atrocity. Soon he reunites with the girls. One of the homunculus he saved stays behind with him, whom he names Nana. They all later decide to return Mia to her home, Warunan Forest. Before they leave, Xena promises to Satu that she'll leave with him next spring when his brother is family head. As the journey continues, the gang stops to eat food together and take care of chores. After the chores are done, he sent Tama, Poki, and Arisa to explore a stone outcropping. Arisa quickly calls him as she finds something that looks like stone torii gates. He reminisces about a shrine from his childhood, which he used as an inspiration to create a Doujin game. He concludes that the gate must be a broken wrap gate and leaves them be. The journey continues and Satu starts working on creating his own spells. Later that night, as the girls sleep, he experiments with his powers. He figures out that difference between mana storage and his own is that in the former time passes naturally for something stored inside, but in the latter no time passes. A few days later, while leaving a city, the gang supports an official, Dosen berating a few injured commoners. After the man is gone, Satu gives the injured ones a healing potion. After Arisa's suggestion, he decides to make potions and learn alchemy. While preparing a potion, he learns that they are low on supplies, so the gang heads for Nuki Town in Kohanu country. On the way, Satu's map expands, but he notices the tiny voids in it and decides to explore them later on his own. After buying potions at Noki, he heads to explore the void. As he enters, he realizes that he has crossed a barrier which leads to him being attacked by a little mage, an Enemana, and stone golems. But a witch intercepts the fight and welcomes Satu after looking at the bell of elves he's carrying. At the witch's residence, an Eneman apologizes to Satu, and he learns about their pact with Count Kohanu to deliver 300 potions to him in exchange for his protection. After receiving some information, he leaves the residence. Next day at the city, Sato notices two men in cloak conspiring to overthrow a noble. One day, Sato notices that Inanimana is being chased by some enemies, but the help doesn't make it in time and 180 vials out of 300 are destroyed. He takes her to the assistant viceroy, Birkins, to get some time. Despite Birkins and Dosen trying to end the pact, Sato manages to get them to wait. While arguing, he notices the two are the same cloaked individuals who were brewing conspiracy and realizes that their goal is to make a new town in the forest. First to get vials, Sato heads to the workshop where he manages to talk the master into letting them prepare the vials. Thanks to Sato's skills, he quickly makes the potions from clay, but not only that, he even prepares a spell to dry them. With the potion prepared and the vials in the kin, just when it looks as if they might make it by the deadline, Dosen appears with his men and destroys the kin. When everyone is in shambles, Sege reveals that he put the vials from the kin in his storage. And to Birkin's surprise, Sato delivers 300 vials on time. But when Birkins refuses to sign the contract, the witch arrives with Count Kanu, who takes away Birkins' privileges for his evil deeds. Birkins, in his anger, attacks the Count, who then decides to kill Birkins. But Sato intervenes, knocking the Birkins out because he doesn't want his girls to see murder. After bidding farewell to the witch and Inanimana, the gang continues its journey to return Mia to her homeland. Hey, thank you for staying all the way till the end. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It takes only a second, but it means everything to us. Have a great day and see you in the next video.